I'm 78 years old, and there's something I learned far too late. It's that love should have come before pride. It's a simple lesson, isn't it? But it took me a lifetime to understand, and by the time I did, it was too late to fix what I'd broken. If my story helps you see things a little clearer than I did, then maybe my mistakes will have some meaning. I've written down more of my thoughts in a few books. If you're interested, you can find a link to them in the description below. When you're young, you think you have all the time in the world. You're building a life, a career. You're making a name for yourself. I was an engineer, a good one. I designed bridges, structures that were meant to last for centuries. There was a certain pride in that. I'd point to a bridge my company built and tell my family, I helped make that. That will be there long after I'm gone. And it's true, the bridges are still standing. But the things I should have been building at home, they crumbled so quietly I didn't even notice. I met Eleanor when I was 23. She was a nurse. She had a laugh that could fill a room and a kindness that made you feel like you were the only person in the world. We got married, had 2 children, a boy and a girl. We had a nice house in the suburbs. On paper, it was a perfect life. I provided. I was a good husband, a good father. That's what I told myself. But what does it mean to be good? For me, it meant working long hours. It meant taking on extra projects to get a promotion. It meant making sure my kids had everything they needed. New shoes, a good education, a car when they turned 16. I thought that was love, providing, building a secure future. I was proud of that. I remember coming home from work, tired. Eleanor would be in the kitchen, making dinner. The kids would run to me, wanting to show me a drawing or tell me about their day. And I'd pat them on the head and say, that's great, but Daddy's tired. Let me just sit down for a minute. That minute would turn into an hour of me reading the newspaper or staring at the television. I was physically there, but my mind was somewhere else. It was on a blueprint, on a problem at work, on the next rung of the ladder I had to climb. Eleanor tried to reach me. She would say, Robert, David scored his first goal in soccer today. He was so excited. And I'd nod and say, that's wonderful, honey. But I hadn't been there to see it. I was in a meeting. I always had an excuse. The excuse was always my work, my duty, my pride. I thought, I'm doing this for them. I truly believed it. I was building a legacy. But a legacy of what? Steel and concrete? The years went by like that, quietly. The children grew up. The little moments I missed started to add up. The school plays I didn't attend. The family dinners I came home late for. The bedtime stories I was too tired to read. Each one was a small thing, a tiny crack in the foundation. But enough tiny cracks, and the whole structure starts to weaken. Eleanor stopped trying so hard to tell me about her day. The kids stopped running to the door when I came home. The house got quieter. I told myself it was normal. Kids grow up, they get their own lives, but that wasn't it. They just learned not to expect much from me, beyond a paycheck and a roof over their heads. They learned that my pride in my work was more important than my presence in their lives. I'd love to know if you've ever felt something similar, choosing work over a moment with someone you love. Let me know in the comments. It helps to know I'm not the only one who's walked this path. The turning point, it wasn't one big, dramatic event. It was slow. It was Eleanor's illness. It started with her being a little more forgetful, misplacing her keys, forgetting a name. We joked about it at first. Getting old, we'd say. I was still working, getting close to retirement. I was looking forward to it. I thought, when I retire, we'll have all the time in the world. We'll travel. We'll do all the things we put off. I was still assuming there would be more time. But the forgetting got worse. The doctor gave it a name, Alzheimer's. Even then, my pride was in the way. I thought I could handle it. I was an engineer. I solved problems. I would manage this. I'd set up schedules for her medicine. I'd make sure the house was safe. I was still trying to build a structure around a problem instead of just being present in the moment. One afternoon, I found her in the living room, looking at our wedding album. She was tracing my face in a photo with her finger. She looked up at me, and there was a flicker of confusion in her eyes. She said, "You look familiar. Have we met?" That was the moment. The moment the bridge I'd spent my life building inside my own home finally collapsed. In that 1 second, I would have traded every award, every promotion, every ounce of professional pride, just to have her know who I was, just to have one more real conversation. But it was too late. The woman I loved was disappearing, and I realized I had let her go long before the illness took her. I had been so busy being proud of what I did that I forgot to just be with her, to listen, to hold her hand, to laugh at her silly jokes. She spent the last few years in a care facility. I visited every day. I sat with her for hours. I'd hold her hand and tell her stories about our life, about how we met, about our children, about the silly arguments we used to have. Sometimes, for a moment, I'd see a glimmer of recognition in her eyes, a small smile. But mostly she was gone. And in that quiet room, holding the hand of a woman who was both my wife and a stranger, I finally understood. My pride had been a wall I built between myself and the people I was supposed to love the most. I thought I was protecting them, providing for them, but I was just keeping them out. I was keeping myself in. Eleanor passed away 3 years ago. The house is so empty now, the silence is deafening. My children are grown, with families of their own. They call. They visit on holidays. They're good kids, but there's a distance, a polite distance. It's the space I created all those years ago when I chose my work over them. It's a gap that can't be closed now. They love me. I know they do, but they don't know me. Not really. And I don't really know them. I know their accomplishments, but I don't know their hearts. I wasn't there for the small moments that shape a person. I walk through this house, filled with things, furniture, photographs, souvenirs, and I realize none of it matters. The career I was so proud of, it feels hollow. The man who designed bridges that connect cities couldn't even connect with his own family. So here I am, 78 years old, alone in a quiet house, and all I can think about are the moments I let slip away, the soccer games I missed, the school concerts I didn't see, the conversations with my wife that I cut short because I was too busy. It wasn't the big choices that cost me everything. It was the thousands of small ones, the daily decision to put my pride, my work, my ambition just a little bit ahead of love. It accumulates like rust. You don't see it at first, but over the years it eats away at the strongest steel until there's nothing left. If you're listening to this, if you're young and building your life, please, hear this old man. Your work is important. Your ambitions are valid, but they are not your life. The people you love, they are your life. Don't assume you'll have more time later. Later is not promised. The moment you have right now is the only one that's real. Don't be so proud of what you're building that you forget who you're building it for. Go to the soccer game. Listen to the story about their day, even if you're tired. Put down the phone, turn off the television, and just be present. Hold their hand. Tell them you love them. Not with money or things, but with your time, with your attention. Because one day you'll be 78, and you'll look back, and all the promotions, all the money, all the professional pride, it will feel like dust. And the only thing you will wish for with every fiber of your being is one more chance to have chosen love, one more moment you can't get back. Don't make the same mistake I did. Don't learn this lesson when it's too late. The bridges I built will stand for a long time, but I'd trade them all. I'd trade them all for one more afternoon with Eleanor, holding her hand, with her knowing my name. Thanks for listening. If you've stayed this long, it means a great deal. Maybe we can all learn to be a little more present.